Welcome back to College Football Addiction. I got my buddy Brian from Clemson Football Live on to talk about one of the bigger games in the ACC this weekend, Clemson and Louisville. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. We had a bye week, so I sat around and watched other teams play. So now I get to watch my team play, and hopefully we win this game because we need it.
Stress-free Saturdays are the best, where you just take all the hype out of it, take all the excitement, the fear, the stress. It is pretty great. Coming out of the bye week, Dabo fared pretty well. I mean, I don't know if you know the stats or if you have them. I don't have them right in front of me or anything, but just as is coming out of the bye week, certain teams are like scared to death out of coming out of the bye week. Clemson has done pretty well historically coming out of it.
I'm going to be transparent. I really don't know what to say there. And right now, transparently, I don't even know if I care about history when it comes to Clemson and bye weeks. When it comes to this year, Clemson is in a weird place as a program. Missouri is called the show me state, and that's kind of my mindset when I think about my Tigers. Just show me that you're improving. Show me you're getting better. Sure, you lost the first game of the year, but up to this point, you've just been running through bad football teams. You're beating bad football teams bad. We've had a break. We have Louisville, a team that's lost 3 games. Every game they lost by 7 points. Yeah. You have to respect them. Brom's a good coach. So for right now, I don't know the statistic about bias, but what I do know is that Clemson has a lot to prove because when they've played really good football teams over the past 4 years, it really hasn't went that well for them. So this will be a great test this weekend.
Yeah, we talked about this right before, and I wrote this down. This is definitely the prove it part of the schedule to me. Now, obviously, you had an opportunity against Georgia that didn't go their way, but that could have been a prove it game for sure. But really, the prove it part of the schedule. Whereas Clemson, who's the next best team after Georgia that Clemson has played? I don't even know that you could throw it a dart at the board and say that one, right? Like who even cares? But now with Louisville, Virginia Tech. Is it Pitt and then South Carolina to finish this? Like those are 4 games that Clemson could win any of them, and I think Clemson could lose any of those games. Now some tougher than others, but yeah, this is if Clemson goes 4-0 in this stretch, and then obviously by doing that probably earns a trip to the ACC championship based on what may happen or may not happen with tiebreakers. But I believe they'll be in the ACC championship at that point, and they'll probably be pretty close to the top 5-ish if they've run through 4 pretty good teams. I think our questions around them will probably diminish some. Now you'll want to continue to see it, but if they can go 4-0 in this stretch, which is a very tough November, I think that's pretty impressive. I think it's hard. I mean, you're the one that everybody calls negative over there, and I know you just say you're being a realist, but I mean, yeah, they would even impress you a little bit, right? If they go 4-0 down the stretch in November.
I mean, yeah, to a point. I always have that question mark in the back of my head, what happens if they get to the college football playoff and they play a Georgia again, Oregon, who just absolutely demolished an up-and-coming Illinois team that's done very well this year, Ohio State, even Texas, even though they got out by the skin of their teeth against the nerds of Vanderbilt, and that exciting quarterback Diego Pavia. It would be impressive, but there's still a lot of question marks there. But we have to take it one game at a time. You got to understand, Clemson right now is the number 5 overall total offense coming into this game. Louisville's coming in at number 15. So this is the best offense Clemson has played since Georgia. Clemson's had some miscommunication in the secondary. Now, that's when they've rotated some personnel in due to injury, or maybe they were trying to get more experience against a team they had a comfortable lead against. And I'm all for getting experience because that's how you build a future for your football team. But we've seen some communication that's, kind of eyebrow raising, even with the second string that would make you go, you can't do this against a good football team. So Tyler Shuck is one of the top quarterbacks in the country by production. He's top 10 in the NCAA. He's playing against this Tigers defense that's had that miscommunication, but he has to get past the front 7, and the front 7's pretty doggone good. We got Peter Woods back, which if you don't know who Peter Woods is, even though he's a Clemson player, you're missing out. This guy's 6'2", about 315. They're running him at defensive end, and he can move. He can destroy people. And on the other side, you have T.J. Parker, who's, I think, coming out of high school, he was called the quarterback killer or something like that. And he lives up to the name. Clemson's defense, to me, is really they can really control this game. Then let's flip to the other side. Clemson's offense, they've done really well over the past 6 games. Most of the 6 games, they're number 5, as I said, total offense. The question is, has the offensive line continued to improve even during the bye week? You have the great Matt Luke coaching them. This is his first year. We're already seeing some good things here. But the question is, can we continue to open it up, not become conservative, continue to be creative? And I think that we could see some really good things here, but we have to fix those issues in the secondary, or else Tyler Shuck's going to take advantage of it, and it could produce an upset in Death Valley.
Yeah, they're an 11 and a half point dog somewhere in there. But like we talked about, they've lost 3 games to 3 really good teams. Notre Dame is a top 10 team. They lost to SMU as a top 15 team, and then also lost to Miami, who's now in the top 5, right? And so they're not losing. They're, and Louisville fans will tell you, like, man, we won 10 games last year. We kind of expected to win a lot of those games that we have dropped. But I mean, they've lost to really good teams, but they have kept it competitive. All those games, I think they lost by 7 points. So if I was predicting a score, I'd probably take Clemson to win by exactly 7, because that seems to be what my buddy Jeremy talked about. So I'm stealing that from him. We'll link the Louisville side of this after the video, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, you mentioned the matchup between Shuck and Cade, which is interesting. 2 of the better quarterbacks in the conference. Both have 20 touchdowns. Both have relatively similar passing numbers. Cade with a few less interceptions, but also a few less yards overall. I do kind of wonder, like we saw Shuck be able to toss the ball around pretty good against that Miami secondary, which has some pretty big question marks. But where Miami is really good is they are really good up front, and they've got a good defensive line, similar to Clemson, right? They've got a good defensive line, good linebackers. They struggle some in the secondary. I like Clemson's backers, a little bit better as far as defensive backs go compared to Miami's. But yeah, like this is a game where I think if you can keep Louisville out of, Louisville's defense to me is not necessarily world beaters. To me, this is a game, if you can keep Louisville under 28, I would expect Clemson to come away with a win here, right? And, that's probably easier said than done. Louisville scores a good number of points, and they scored a good number of points against against Miami. But that's, to me, I agree with you. Like, that's the matchup, is can Clemson's defense do enough to keep Louisville under 28? And if they do, I think Clemson finds a way to get over that number and probably ends up winning.
Yeah, I mean, the growth of Cade and the trust that Garrett Riley is showing Cade up to this point, he's shown Cade up to this point, is great and stuff. But I told you this before we came on here, I just have this weird feeling that I can't enjoy it completely. I can't enjoy what I've seen completely until I've seen basically the season and see that. And I know that's more of a pessimist. I admit that's negative and pessimistic, but the season unfold, and the reason why is because we've seen Clemson go back in their shell here and there. In the very first game of the year, I know we're weeks past that, 2 months past it, but you got intimidated, and Clemson has to get past that going back into their shell, and I just hope that they don't go back in their shell. Why would you? You have a quarterback who's picking up confidence, a guy that was 45-0 in 6A Texas football. You can't fake it there. And so we've seen him really come on. A question that I have is right now is, will we see true freshman Bryant Wesco be able to play? He's missed the past few weeks because he got injured playing against Florida State. Will we see him come out and play against Louisville? That would be great to get him back. True freshman TJ Moore's been showing out. Antonio Williams has been doing well. Our tight ends have been doing well. There's no reason to go back in your shell. Come out, put them away. Also, throw out a couple of statistics for you. For red zone defense, Louisville is tied for 83rd. And for red zone offense, Louisville is tied for 96th. What does that mean? That means that they have a finishing problem. So Clemson, Clemson needs to take advantage of that. Of course, the game is not played on paper, but sometimes those statistics can lead you to believe, hey, this is where they struggle, and those are pretty bad numbers. So hopefully Clemson will come out, put them away early, and win the game commandingly.
Their rushing defense was a little bit susceptible to Miami's rushing attack, which Miami, has a really good running game, as we saw Saturday night against FSU. Right. They were a little bit better against BC, who does also have a good rushing attack, maybe not quite to the level of Miami's. Do you would it surprise you? And I don't mean this in a conservative way, like, oh, he's just going to try and run the ball. But would it surprise you if Clemson tried to lean on the run pretty heavy early? Or do you expect him, kind of guns blazing to come out, or maybe more balanced? Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they tried to run to open things up for Cade, but I'm going to get your take on that too.
Sure. I mean, they have been a little more heavy on the pass, opening up the game since the Georgia Week 1 loss, and that's great and stuff. For me, at this point, to answer your question in two parts. First, I think they're going to open it up with the pass. I think they're going to keep with that pattern. On the second part, I really don't care as long as they're just effective. I just hope that this coaching staff, TJ, is growing. We talk about player development. We talk about players getting better. We talk about individual units like offensive line, wide receiver, secondary, blah, 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 getting better. TJ, my question is the guys on the sideline, are they getting better? Are they growing as coaches? Have they stepped back and said, hey, we're in the top 12 at this point, but if we had to play tomorrow against Oregon or Ohio State or Texas, let's forget talent on the field. Let's ask ourselves, are we getting better? Are we scheming better? Do we know how to make the adjustments, or are we hiding behind a top 5 talent composite according to 24/7 Sports? A group of players that's rated in the top 5 of talent. Are we hiding, or are we actually getting better? So, that's a great question that I have for Clemson right now is their coaching staff, are they getting better? But to go back what you were, me, I go on a rabbit trail here and there, guilty. But, to answer your question, I think they're going to open it up with the pass. And if they see a susceptibility moving into the game, you may see, believe it or not, Cade pull the ball more and run because the guy's fast. Of course, Phil Maffa's 6'1", 230. I mean, he's not slow, but he's not a gazelle. But, man, you go head-to-head with him, he's going to lower his pads. He's going to knock the logo off your helmet, and he's going to keep running.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would just say, listen, they wouldn't pay me very much in NIL anyway, so I just say, that's your lane right there, buddy. Have at it. If Clemson wins this game, what has gone right for them? Like, what have they done pretty well in this to end up pulling off the win? Pulling off's the wrong way to phrase that, as an 11-point favorite at home. But what has gone right if they've won the game?
They stopped being scared. They stopped reading their own media. They stopped talking about 16 and 18. They stopped talking about 6 consecutive playoff wins or six consecutive playoff appearances. That is great for history, and that means a lot. But it's like Florida State right now. You guys aren't sitting around talking about 2013, are you? No, because though it matters, it doesn't matter right now. It's something to build on, but you have to respect it, build on it, and learn from it. But you have to live in right now. And I think that Clemson has to stop being scared. And if they get to that point to where we get to the end of the season, or we get to the end of the regular season, maybe they're holding up a championship trophy, ACC championship trophy, there would be a lot of learning and growing that has had to have happened since over the past few years, because a lot of your viewers who may not really pay attention or maybe even remember, 3 years ago when DJ took over, the game that really scared us was not the 10-3 loss to Georgia, which was a pick-6 return for a touchdown. No. It was the next game when we played Georgia Tech, a bad team, and we couldn't move the football. We couldn't get the ball into the end zone. And there was just this weirdness that was going on that not only exposed the players and the lack of development, it exposed some of the coaching on the coaching staff. So if we get to that point, it's because we grew as coaches, We became better as a coaching staff, especially on the offensive side of the football, and we just downright stopped being scared and stopped trying to live off of collateral we built yesterday, and we're moving forward today.
Brian, I know it's early in the week, and so I won't hold you anything real hard on this, but do you have a lean on this? Do you have I don't know if you have a full-blown prediction just yet on a Monday, but just a thought of probably how this goes down. Do you expect Clemson to win? Do you expect them to cover?
I believe they cover. But I think this is going to be a good game. And if our secondary pulls it together, TJ, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Where Tyler can come out there, not Tyler from Spartanburg, but Tyler Shuck. I have to weave it in, man. Hey, by the way, today is the 1-year anniversary.
Oh.
1-year anniversary of Tyler from Spartanburg.
Happy anniversary, Tyler.
Happy anniversary.
The man that really, I know the Georgia game still happened, but the man that really turned Clemson football around, if you think about it.
He really is. We owe him a check. Hey, I've tried to get the guy to come on my show. I've put out an open invitation, but anyway, no answer. Please, Tyler, come on. No, but Clemson just if they don't fix that secondary, Tyler Shuck he might get the upset in Death Valley. It's hard for people to come in and beat Clemson in Death Valley. Yeah. I mean, it really is. I can name the last 2 losses right off the top of my head.
Oh, I remember one of them.
You guys last year. Trying to forget that. Year before that was South Carolina, and then the time before that, I want to say Pittsburgh 2016. There we go.
So I would agree with that. I'd lean Clemson here. Maybe Louisville can cover. Maybe they can keep it a little closer. But it's tough for me to see somebody going in and winning. Again, Louisville has had some close losses, but they haven't shown me the ability to go out and win against a pretty good team. And I'd put Clemson up in the categories of the SMUs and the Miamis and the Notre Dames and stuff like that. Like I think they're pretty comparable at times when they play well. And those 3 teams at their best and Clemson at their best, I think you're going to get really good games out of it. So I wouldn't, if this game was in Louisville, maybe a little bit easier path for them. But I do think it's tough to project, this team's going to go in and upset them without something major happening, lose the turnover battle, play down, secondary just completely pee down their leg or whatever, Louisville could certainly win, but it's hard to just, I'm confident that they lose the turnover battle, or I'm confident that they secondary is just completely lost. And so, yeah, I'd lean Clemson here too. Again, maybe Louisville can keep it a little closer like they did against Miami and end up covering the spread, but I'd pick the Tigers in this one as well. Brian, where can people follow you? Where can they watch your show, find your work?
Yeah, you can find me Clemson Football Live on YouTube. The channel is growing. It's always fun when you see new people interact with the commenters, the subscribers, the viewers, and so on. So you can find me on YouTube. Drop a line. Let me know you saw me on this channel. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck Saturday. TJ, thanks for having me on. It's always fun. I appreciate it.